A lot of us have this idea that to really change, to rewire our nervous system, we need to be in this state of perfect, unshakable calm. But what if that's not where the real work gets done? What if real progress actually happens somewhere else entirely?
So let's ask that question. Where does this crucial work, this kind of personal development, actually take place? If it's not when we're totally relaxed, then where is it?
Well, here's a really common misunderstanding. We tend to think it's at one of two extremes. On one hand, you've got a state of complete regulation. But honestly, that doesn't offer any challenge. It gives your system no reason at all to adapt. It's like driving on a perfectly straight, empty road forever. On the other hand, you have a state of total overwhelm. And when we're there, we're not learning anything new. We're just falling back on old survival patterns, just reacting.
Yeah, so neither of those extremes is going to build new capacity. The real work, the place where the magic happens, is somewhere else entirely. It's in the sweet spot for growth. Okay, so what is this sweet spot? In the traffic light processing framework, it sits right on the boundary between two nervous system states. Now, the green light doesn't mean you're emotionless. It just means you're regulated. And the orange light, well, that's not a sign of failure. It simply means your system's activation is rising. The sweet spot is right there, on that edge, where you are activated, but you're still able to steer. This is exactly the ideal state for rewiring. Your system is challenged, it's mobilized, but you're still in control. There's a challenge, yes, but you are still the driver. And this precise state is where your brain is absolutely primed to learn.
To really get our heads around this, let's use a pretty simple metaphor. Imagine you're driving and you're coming up to a junction. And that junction represents pretty much any challenge in your life. So as you approach this junction, you feel that rise in energy as your system gets ready. The light starts to shift towards orange. Now, instead of escalating into a panic or just avoiding the junction altogether, you choose to regulate. Maybe you just slow your breathing down. That one conscious action returns the light to green, and it allows you to move through that challenge safely.
And this is the crucial point. The real learning doesn't just happen by staying in green. The rewiring happens in that conscious, skillful return from orange back to green. It's that journey from activation back to a feeling of safety that teaches the nervous system a whole new way of being. Of course, if that activation escalates and we don't check it, we can tip over into a red state. And when that happens, the system just defaults to defense mode. Steering is lost, learning stops. All we're doing then is reinforcing the old belief that this type of junction is dangerous.
So, when we do manage to stay in that sweet spot, what's actually happening in the brain? How does this process literally build a new neural pathway?
It's actually pretty amazing. When we experience that moderate arousal, that orange light, the brain releases what you could call learning chemistry. It's a signal that says, hey, pay attention, this moment is important. And by successfully regulating, we keep our prefrontal cortex, the driver, online. This proves the brain's old prediction of danger wrong. And as a result, the brain literally updates its internal map. It builds a new road from activation back to regulation.
Now, this might sound a bit theoretical, but the truth is we encounter these junctions every single day. So let's have a look at what this actually feels like in real life.
Think about having a really difficult conversation. You feel that irritation rising. That's the shift orange. But somehow, you manage to keep your tone steady. Or maybe it's finally starting a task you've been avoiding. You feel that resistance, but you stay grounded and you just begin. These are perfect, real-world examples of navigating that green-orange edge and building new capacity.
So, you see, understanding this process fundamentally reframes what we're all trying to achieve. It gives us a completely new destination for our efforts. If growth isn't about avoiding challenges or trying to stay perpetually regulated, then what on earth is the actual goal of this practice?
First, let's be absolutely clear what the goal is not. It is not to eliminate the experience of the orange light. Activation, challenge, energy, these are all natural and necessary parts of a full life. We can't avoid them, and we shouldn't want to. The true goal, the real skill we're building, is to become more skilled at that return journey. It's to practice noticing the shift to orange and then confidently guiding ourselves back to a regulated state of green. That is the skill. And with every single successful return journey, your driving skills improve. Your capacity to handle life's junctions expands. Each repetition strengthens that new neural road, making regulation your new default route. This is precisely where the rewiring happens. So the key takeaway is simple, but it's also profound. We grow not when we're numb and not when we're overwhelmed, but when we are both challenged and in control, activated but regulated. That is the sweet spot.